Good afternoon, this is Last Call Ministries, and I want to share a dream I had with you. In this dream, I was looking down as if I was on a tall bridge. Now, I've never been to New York City. I have no idea what it looks like. I've never been anywhere. Texas, Arkansas, and Mexico City. That's about it. And so anyway, I was looking down. I don't know if I was what I was on or whatever, but there was like a building floating around in the water, and I looked at it, and the water looked clear, but the building looked like a little toy floating around in the water. And it looked just like that building right there. And in my dream, I heard, that's the New York Stock Exchange. And so I was looking at it, and I said, that's the New York Stock Exchange? I didn't understand why. It looked like it was in a big puddle or a big lake, but yet the water, I could see through the water and see it. And there was a man standing, there was other people standing there looking at it. And there was a man standing right next to me with this, he had a jacket on like a, I don't know, it was, his shoulders were squared off. He was real stiff. And there was a man next to that man pointing at his rib, like his left side rib cage. And he said, here, touch this right here. And it was like, I looked at him, I said, I'm not going to touch him. I thought to myself, why would I want to touch him? And the guy he had this look on his face that was like, scared, but not scared. But like, like he was waiting for me to do something or waiting for something to happen. And I was wondering why his shoulders were real, straight, like he had a board in his, under his jacket where his shoulders were. And then in my dream, it was, I knew automatically, I knew that he had a gun under his jacket aimed at himself. Okay, he had a gun, a handgun, some kind of like German Luger or whatever, aimed at himself. And the rib cage, there was a button set up there to be pushed, and it would have killed him. But he wouldn't have killed himself. He was trying to get someone else to kill him. That's what apparently in the dream I knew. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand. I thought, well, I don't understand what this is that I'm looking at. And so then, I just woke up. And and then I started thinking about other dreams that I had when I was young. And I remember having one dream when I was real young. I lived in Brownsville, Texas. I might have been about 6 years old. I just thought I would go ahead and share this. Sometimes you have dreams and you think, well, that doesn't matter. When the Lord comes, that's what matters. But then the Lord said, share the dream. It is for someone else. And I thought, okay. Sometimes I have dreams and I just keep it to myself because I think it doesn't even matter. But they do matter. And this other dream I had when I was, I might have been 4, 5, or 6 years old. I don't remember. I know I wasn't 8 because 8 I already lived in Ellis County. But this was when I lived in Brownsville, Texas. I was standing in the middle of the street of where I lived. And all I heard was people screaming, "Where are the children? where are all the children? They're all gone. And I remember thinking, well, I'm standing here. Can't you see me? And you know, I just remember they were continually saying, all the children are gone. Where are all the kids at? Where are all the children at? I heard all these voices, but I was standing in the street. There was nobody around. I couldn't see anybody. I just heard all this. And so anyway, that was in the 60s. About 64 maybe, or 65. So anyway, I just wanted to share that dream. There is one other dream I had. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was in 1994, maybe, or 5, somewhere around there. I dreamt that I was walking down a very nice and neat neighborhood, but I didn't quite know where I was. I was just walking down a neighborhood, a street, like I was in the center of the street, walking down. On each side, there were very, very nice fences, and coming up over the tops of the fences were beautiful banana trees, and you could see the banana palms coming out from the inside of the backyard. So it was very, very enticing neighborhood, you know, something that most people want. And I walked over, and there was a Mixmaster type of bridge. And I looked up, and it was real tall. And I could hear a car driving real fast, and the car drove faster and faster and faster. And I remember thinking, I don't know why he's going that fast. That bridge curves right there. And so, as I was looking up, I could hear his complaints. It was a taxi driver. It was a taxi driver complaining. And he wasn't complaining in our English language. He was complaining in his language. And you could feel he was distraught. He was very angry and complaining. And it was a taxi. It was a taxi driver. I don't know how I knew this, but I knew this. And so, as he complained, aggravated, it was as if he was complaining because there was no money. He wasn't making any money. And there was no food to eat or something. It was a very, very bad time. And he just pushed on his gas, and he went faster and faster. And as I stood there listening to him as he complained, that's why I know it was a God dream, because God allowed me to see this in the spirit. And so he flew off that bridge. And I remember looking at the car, and I thought, oh my goodness, he committed suicide. And his car flew off, and he fell upside down. And his body parts went everywhere. And I couldn't see where he landed because, of course, there was a tall wall that was keeping me from going further. I could just see the Mixmaster, but from the neighborhood you couldn't get over there. But I looked over to my right, and there was some stairways going down. And so the wall, all of a sudden I was walking down those stairs, and the wall was made out of like white stucco type of material. And as I walked down, I kept going down to see if there was a way to get past that wall to see what happened to that man. I was going to render aid. And all of a sudden I looked, and there was doorways to my right, doorways of where people were living, but I looked in and I saw a sofa that looked like one I used to own. It was familiar. It looked like something I used to own. And the partitions of that, it's like one big room, but they divided the room with string and sheets hanging. So the room was divided into rooms with strings and hanging sheets, white sheets is the only way I can describe it. And so then I thought, what is this? I didn't quite understand what that was. But then I finally went. There was an opening there where I could see the car, and the police were already there, and they were writing down, I guess, taking the report down. And I told the police officer, I said, I understood and saw this in my spirit. He just looks up at me and looks back down. He didn't understand. He didn't understand even what I was saying. And you could see blood everywhere, and there was pieces of that man's flesh laying on that street. And out from one of these rooms that I saw with the sheets hanging came a little baby, I'd say about 2 years old, and picked up a piece of that man's flesh and put it in her mouth immediately. And I reached in and grabbed the flesh out of her mouth and said, "You can't eat that." And her mother was standing right there. And I told her, I said, "You can't let her eat that. That's a human body." And she looked at me. She didn't care whether she ate it or not. And I remember looking around thinking, what is happening? What is the world coming to? I thought to myself. But then I woke up, and that's been in my spirit for years and years, and didn't quite understand the meaning of it. Only it felt like it was tribulation. And now that I know all that I know, I'm sure that that's just part of it. The tribulation's probably going to be a lot worse than that. I don't see how it could be any worse than people eating people. I mean, it might even come to that. Thank God that the Lord's going to shorten the days. Well, anyway, I just wanted to share these dreams that I've had in my life, and hope that it helps somebody. That's Call Ministries. Love you. If you don't know Jesus, please call upon the name of the Lord, and you shall be saved. Say Jesus. God bless.